Okay, again, good morning and welcome to the first session on data engineering with Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Bricks along with Synapse. So today session will be touching some of the concepts related to Azure Data Factory. And before getting to the Data Factory, there are some kind of a foundational building blocks we'll be talking about. And then we'll get into a uh, important concepts in the Azure Data Factory. So, what are those building factory? And you guys been looking at the enormous data being generated by the devices and by the people, by the internet, right? It's day in day out, right? So, what is that? So, if I ask somebody, what is you would have also heard about this, big data, right? So what is that big data? According to you, what do you think is a big data? You can answer. You can unmute yourself and you can answer. See the reason is I want to make this as an interactive, right? So that's where the you will get the most out of this session, and we just don't want to just continue with the tool or anything and leave the session alone. We wanted to get into the details and understand the foundational and building blocks. That's where you can relate, and you can relate to the real time scenarios. What are the use cases pertaining to this Azure Data Factory, and then you can apply the same principles and the thoughts in your regular work. So that's the intention. So to make this, if I'm just only speaking, it's I know what I'm teaching myself, and I don't want to be that level. So everybody open. There is no right or wrong questions or any answers. Okay, so you can speak up, right? That's how we will learn, and that's how I have learned in my career as well, right? So open up, you will be interactive, so that we will be. It's going to be a more interactive session. Okay, so yeah, so let's start. What is big data? What do you think? What is big data? Anyone can speak up.
The data which we can't store or process in your on-prem system because of the huge data volume.
Good. Anybody else? So we have 7, 8 people. Yeah. So that's a good answer. So the data, which is humongous in terms of volume, in terms of velocity, and in terms of variety, right? So what does it mean? So variety in the sense I may be getting data from social media, I may be getting data from my other sources like manufacturing data. I may be getting data from sales. I may be getting different some planning data comes from some other system. So different varieties of data I'm dealing with, and also it's becoming huge in terms of volume. As somebody mentioned, it's a coming in not just GB, it's terabytes and petabytes of data, right? And also the velocity in the sense it's the speed of changing, right? So today I got some data, and tomorrow again some updates have come, and again some data is coming up, and day after, and so on and so forth. So in this kind of characteristics, we call it as a big data. Okay, so as you can see the underlying highlighted words, so it's variety, volume, and velocity. So if these three characters are applicable to any data, it's called as a big data. In a simple terms, it's also known as a three V's. Okay, put it simply, it's a larger, complex, and also it's coming from many sources, many data sources. Okay, just reminding those underlying words. Those are the keywords that will be very very foundational when you are into the data space. Okay, so these words you keep coming up in every time, whether it you are working or whether you are doing it some internal POCs or anything, or whether you're working with a client. So these keywords keep coming every time. So it's very important to understand this. Okay. So now when I say a more complex data set, so what is the data set? So data set is any data that is consumable and available others to use, right? For example, in a tabular way, we get the data in terms of rows and columns. For example, if somebody is sending an employee data to me, so the data I can consume in my system and it's useful for me for the reporting and other purpose. So that's called it as a data set, right? And we'll be dealing with many data sets in our this further sessions. So just keep in mind of these underlying keywords. So those are very important. And also we'll be dealing with data sources, right? So as I mentioned, some data is coming from Salesforce, some data is coming from Oracle apps, some data is coming from some on-prem systems. Somebody mentioned on-prem systems. There are so many on-prem systems, SaaS-based applications running for my enterprise. So it's very crucial the data to be analyzed and get the insights. So we'll be connecting to those data sources and pulling the data regularly. Okay, so that's the if any data qualifies these definitions, it's called as a big data. Okay, any questions on this before I move to further sessions? You understand about big data? Have you heard of big data? It's somewhere and the similar lines. Any thoughts or anything is helpful?
No, sir.
Okay, so now where these data getting generated, right? When you say big data, so much of noise around happening. Where this data is getting generated? So most of the data getting generated by the internet, right? So I have put across some numbers, but don't worry, these numbers keep changing in day out. Okay, the moment I have taken these numbers, now if you look into if you Google or if you look at any other sources, these numbers would have changed. But that's not the point of the discussion. The discussion is what we are trying to do is the amount of data getting generated in each and every day, and the amount of data getting processed by the different organizations. I just wanted to give a snap of that, right? And internet being is a most one of the most source data getting generating mission, right? So you have social media, and within social media, whatnot. You have Facebook, we have Instagram, you have a Twitter, right? And you have the YouTube, which is there since a long time of our career started, and LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn also is a data generating. So many some people are posting content, some people are you know uh, posting job openings and the requirements, and other people are commenting. If somebody is interested, yes, he's making a comment saying that I'm interested, or I wanted to know more about this job, or something specific to the job or the organization. He can ask, right? So that is basically a data getting generated out from the LinkedIn. Same thing in the YouTube. We do watch videos, and we'll post comments, and then we like and subscribe. And at the end of the day, somebody wants to know, okay, I posted a video, and what was my statistics? How many people liked? How many people subscribes to my channel, right? And what are the different comments I got from this video? If somebody wants to know more about the details, or if somebody wants to, you know, you it's maybe someone wants to give some comments, some, based on his knowledge, right? And then that's what happening Twitter also. And Twitter is today, if I post something, it can reach to us across the globe. You need not wait for the information is available just a fingertip, right? If I'm launching a new product, I can post in Twitter. And that's what you see people like Elon Musk and all they're doing. So it's enormous data being generated, right? So earlier, if I'll give an example. So if I'm running a company and I wanted to launch a new product, right? So what are the different options available? Either I can make a MVP of the product and then release to the users, or I can make a full product according to the market research and anything, right? And then release to the entire world. So in both the cases, what's happening is, if you make a entire product according to your market research, and it's involving huge investments, and that product may or may not like by the users. Okay, so another concept is I will just make an MVP. The MVP in the sense most viable product, right? So the minimum that is required for the product or the concept, I will put it into Twitter, and I will ask user, hey, how many people want this product in next 3 months or 6 months? Then you will get the response from no, this is good or this is bad, something needs to be added. So that's where the pulse of the people that wanted to use that product, right? So earlier, if you see, the lot of production innovation and the lot of product demos used to happen once the product is ready. So now if you see, you need not be waiting for the product completely to be ready, or and getting the users feedback. You can just create a small snippets, or you can create the MVP of this product and get the users pulse. So that is the power of information, and that is the power of internet. Okay, so that way you will be creating enormous data, and snapshot and the recent one, right? So you can see the how many people are sharing the photos and all the stuff. If somebody is doing some product development, or somebody wants to create a new content, they just open and snaps it and post over there, and they can get the feedback immediately. Imagine if you want to get a feedback of entire 1.2 or 2 billions of people, how do you do that? So these are the platforms available to generate the those feedbacks, right? So this is internet is one of the major source to get the and create the data. Now, why would I call it as a big data? Because you see the number of sources: Snapchat, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and so on and so forth. So no, the sources of creating the data is more, right? So it's qualifies the number of data sources, and also the change of data, the velocity, the speed of change, right? So within a minute, right? If you see, every second Google process around 40,000 researches, which is 3.5 billion searches per day, right? So the speed of change is very high. Somebody has posted something in LinkedIn, somebody is getting some data from Instagram. So it's on every minute, every second, even fraction of seconds, there is humongous data getting generated. And it's a and also it's a volume based also, right? It's a huge volume, as you can see, 3 billion searches, right? And these are just highlighted numbers, and they are keep growing. Okay, so that is what it's called as a big data. It's qualified as a big data. And second thing is communication. You can see the communication and media and entertainment, right? So you can see, for example, Netflix. As yesterday we discussed about Netflix. Netflix is what? It's a content, curated content. It delivers to the end users, right? And you can see the recent one like a Spotify, and when more and weather channels. There are so many weather related data getting generated every minute and every day. Okay, so that is where these are the major sources the data getting generated for the enterprises to consume, right? For example, I wanted to, as a company, I wanted to launch a product, right? Maybe if I'm Starbucks, I wanted to launch a new coffee flavor or something. Now, if let's say today we are in India, it's a summer, right? And what if you are in a Bangalore like uh, location, and even some other parts of India, there are rains, right? Yesterday I was looking some news. There's some parts of places like Andhra Pradesh and all, they're getting the rains, right? So if I launch a product now, what would be the my forecast of different places, right? Let's say I wanted to launch a soft drink today in Bangalore, right, in Indiranagar. Now, to launch that soft drink, people to use that, the weather should also consume it. Weather should also support it, right? But what if suddenly the if rains comes, suddenly heavy rain in Indranagar, nobody would come and see them. It's raining. What soft drink I want, right? So these are the datas available for those enterprises to forecast their predictions and in their day-to-day businesses. So these are the kind of a data manufacturers hubs, communication services, and whatnot. There are so on and so forth. Okay, and Internet of Things, right? How many devices are we using? Right, now we have a digital watches. It captures the data. Even if I walk, and if I run, even if I go gym, it captures enormous data, right? And also the other devices, when you drive car, the GPS data, which Google uses to get the in their Google Maps, right? So these are the point I'm trying to make is these are the ways the data is getting generated for the enterprises to consume, so that they can make most out of these, and then scale up their businesses, right? Any questions so far on the big data? Okay, so let's move on. So now once okay, we have a data. There is no um, shortage of data. There are so many devices and manufacturing hubs. The data is getting generated. Now, how do we analyze data to get the insights? That is where the analytics part will come, right? Somebody had mentioned using the on-prem systems. It's very limited, getting the data, right? The speed of change. See, one thing you need to understand: you can use on-prem as well. The moment you get the data and you analyze, it takes hours and days, right? But by the time the data got changed, for example, I got a saying that data saying that somebody is traveling from point A to point B, right? So that point A to point B is if somebody is traveling, the data I need to analyze the traffic and other nuances involved to reaching the station immediately, right? So that I can give those insights to the other person. Hey, if the other person also traveling from same place A to B, hey man, look, the say same like other person is traveling, and you could see there is a lot of traffic in this area. There are a lot of some repairing, some roads are blocked in this area. And then I can immediately tell. But if you take the data to your on-prem, and with the available resources, if you process, and if it's by the evening, if you get generated those insights, hey look, somebody traveled from point A to point A in the morning. Now during that time, at 4 o'clock, you are giving that, during that time it was a traffic in one of the area. Then how that information going to be consumed? Somebody traveled in the morning and you're telling at 4 o'clock that there was a traffic in so and so area. So it's irrelevant now. Now we need what is happening now. I'm looking at 4 o'clock in the evening. So what is the 4 o'clock statistics? What is the 4 o'clock availability over there? I don't want to get into what had happened to morning, right? So the example I have taken is the speed of data changing involves with the speed of processing also, right? So how the simple example, right? How, for example, if you want to go from electronic city to silk board via not through the bridge, and you want to go from road. So how the Google, if you just give in the Google, how Google is gives you, okay, go by this way. This is the shortest way. This is the block. If it's a, if there is a heavy traffic, they give you the red indication. How Google knows that? Because before you, somebody has traveled the same path just before you, and using the GPS, Google had captured that information. It was not that information from yesterday, or it was not from day before yesterday. It was just before you, somebody has traveled, and he is feeling that pain of traffic in Silk Road or wherever it may be. So you might be also getting the same thing if you travel now, right? So the processing, right, it's very important. So that is where, at the new age, the cloud computing, right? Why people are moving to the cloud computing? Because there are restrictions of on-prem, and it's involved a huge operational costs to maintain the servers and all the things. That is where the people are moving to the cloud to get the um, benefit of the limitations what we have with the on-prem, right? It's because cloud compute is for scaling. You can within a minute you can get 100 TB, or petabytes of storage, and hundreds of GBs of RAM, processed servers, and virtual machines you can get from the uh, cloud within a minute. But the same thing, if you wanted to get it from the on-prem, you had to get into finance and get the budget, and you have to raise a purchase order to the Oracle or any other vendor, and they will ship to your on-prem, and they will install. So it's taking a lot of time, and also you need to pay upfront. For example, you want to buy a 100 TBs of storage, right? It costs you some thousands of millions of dollars, right? So you have to pay upfront and buy the storage. But whereas here you need to, you need not pay any upfront. You just, whenever you are using, out of 100 TB you are using 50 TB, okay, you will pay only for 50 TB. So okay, that's the beauty and benefit of cloud computing. So I know some of you are knows some concepts, or if you are new to why cloud compute is evolving. So these are the basic building blocks to understand. Okay. So now, so what big data analytics will do? Big data analytics, you remember the data is getting generated from the different sources we talked about. Now, big data analytics to uncover the trends, patterns, correlations, and give process the data, and get these trends, patterns, correlations to make a data informed decisions, right? So as I mentioned in the previous example, I want to go from a electronic city to silk board. So that's the decision I want to make, whether should I go from on the road, whether should I go from a flyover, right? What flyover is blocked, right? What will happen, right? So these decisions, to make those decisions, I needed data informed proof, right? I need a data from somewhere that, hey, how if I go from a flyover, or how if I go from a uh, by road, what would happen? I have a meeting at 10 o'clock, and right now it's 9:30 already. I cannot take a risk of going by road and block by somewhere in between for hours and hours of traffic. So these decisions, if you to take these decisions where the data supports you, right? Google Map is nothing but it's a data process, and it gives you as a data informed decisions to take it, right? Similarly, as I mentioned, if I want if I launch a product, right? I have created a small video and put it into the Twitter, and how many people like that concept, right? If I make that process, these people are, if I make that product, will these people pay money and buy that product? How many people are interested to get a free subscription? How many are interested to get a paid? Like for example, the recent case, right? Twitter. If you take a Twitter is free, but recently Elon Musk has proposed to put a fee on that, like $8 or something, right? So he had a numbers how many people are willing to buy that. So upfront he knows what revenue he's going to he's get from the users. Okay, so these kind of decisions and these kind of trends and patterns that we get from the big data analytics. Of course, there are many processes like a statistics analysis, and there are so many regression clustering. You have to do that. So big data, the analytics cloud computing supports this kind of analysis and get the um, supported data, so that we can take the businesses can take those decisions. Okay, so that's the purpose of big data and analytics. I hope you guys now got into the what is big data, what are the building blocks of big data, and how that data is going to be useful to the enterprises, so that they can take the right decisions to make their businesses, right? Now let's quickly talk about some of the finance, the different domains that are leveraging these data and getting benefit out of their business, right? For example, if you talk about finance, consumer analytics, and insights for insurance companies, right? So as in one of the situation when we went into when during the COVID period, the insurance companies, there was a drastic change. It's kind of a paradigm shift in insurance companies, right? So how they got a humongous data from different sources, and they have tailored the products, right? For example, if somebody with COVID and he had some kind of symptoms, or some kind of pre-diseases and all, so what would be your premium amount? If somebody doesn't have any issues and is an early age, what would be their premium amount, right? So that they can sell the right product to the right people, right? If I offer a same product to everybody, not it will not one size fit will not fit into everybody, right? And real time analytics in marketing, as I told you, right? Um, if I want to release a product, if I want to deliver a product, right? What is my marketing strategy, right? For example, if you want to brand, if you want to create a brand, what is the right place to create a brand right now? Can somebody answer that? Let's say you want to launch a soft drink. Okay, it's brand new. Okay, you had come up with a very good product. Now you want to launch it. Where do you launch it? IPL, right? That's where the people are there. You go there, just put a stall and get the feedback, right? The similarly, I think before this one there was a FIFA football World Cup, right? So if you want to spend your marketing this one, where do you spend? Go to football, where the match is happening, and get those right feedback. Just install an app, give the app a free access to everybody, and you will easily get it. right? And another major thing is fraud detection, right? So now with this so much of internet and all, there are so many the frauds also increasing, right? So we wanted to identify those detections immediately, right? And customer segmentation as and target marketing, you would have receiving so many SMSs or so many things daily from different products categories, right? So these all are happening through these analytics. Okay. So now on the retail space is very huge, right? Personalizing customer experience, right? And predicting demands, what products is selling well, what is lagging, why it's lagging, and operational efficiency, how can I make it better, right? And customer journey, the customer 360 value. If somebody is liking a product and but buying from another store, why he just look, why is not buying, what why is not buying from this um, website, right? Many of times we look for a product in Flipkart and we'll add to the cart, but we'll go to Amazon and we'll buy the same product, or maybe in another website we'll go and buy. Why? Right? So these are the kind of instances and analytics that the companies are looking for. If Flipkart wants to analyze the data, why so many people are just adding cart and but not buying, right? There must be some reason, either the product quality is better available somewhere or the pricing available somewhere, right? So these are the things are the insights that the company can analyze and they can make it better, right? And the same way in healthcare. So you have so much of patient data treatment and telemedicine, right? Nowadays everybody is coming. For example, if you want to do a health test, he's coming to home and collecting, and then going to lab to do the test, right? So these are a lot of research and cost related. So there are so many use cases that you will do that, right? Travel, you would have seen offers, right? For example, today this is a Christmas or any other season, you will get the seasonal offers, right? So these are the real time use cases that you will, after learning this session, you will go and you apply to get the data and analyze and give the insights to the businesses so that the businesses can benefit out of that, right? So these are the real time use cases that you will be working in day in day out of your career. Okay. So that's about the context, about the big data and analytics and how they play a big role, right? So before moving to the next session, I just just give you 2 minutes if you guys have any questions and we can take it up. Come on guys, we need some questions. Right? Otherwise it's like, either you understood everything or you didn't understand anything. Any questions, any thoughts, anything is fine. As I mentioned, right, there is no right or wrong answer. Cool. So let's quickly jump into the next one, which is I just want to touch upon the Azure Data Factory, which is our um, core objective of this course. Okay. And so far what is big data and why companies are spending more money in terms of hiring a data engineer and hiring the required infra to process the data to get the benefit in the form of informed decisions, right? So now how are you going to process the data? You have a data coming from multiple sources and it's a huge, right? Your on-prem doesn't support, right? So that is where Azure Data Factory come into picture, right? Azure is from Microsoft, many of you know, and is one of the leading cloud provider in the market. And we have Microsoft, and as well as we have Amazon, and also we have a Google Cloud. So right now these three are leading in the market, and out of three, Azure is one of the leading one. Okay. So Azure Data Factory is a cloud ETL service for scale out serverless data integrations and data transformation. You remember, this is a cloud, this is not an on-prem, right? And I talked about what is the cloud and what are the some of the benefits of our on-prem, right? So now here one more interesting term, if you want to remember, ETL. So what is ETL? If you know anything about ETL, you can just type in chat. But in short, it's extract, transform and load, right? If you remember, when we are talking in the big data, so the data is available. Data is available in YouTube, data is available in Twitter, data is available in some on-prem system, data is available in Salesforce, so data is there. So you need the data for your analytics and reporting purpose. So you need to go and extract the data. In some cases, they will send the data, but many of the times you need to go and extract the data. So that is where the E refers to extract and T refers to transform. So once you extract data, what you do? You need to transform the data the way you need it for you, right? For example, Google collects the GPS data. So it's not as easy as sending to the users, right? It transforms, it processes the data in a required format, and then um, it delivers to the end user in the form of Google Map, right? So the T is here referred to the transform, and L is it what the load. So once you extract the different formats and the different themes of data, you transform it in a required format, and then finally load the data to a target data model or um, target kind of a format where people can consume the data, the analytic people, whether the data analyst, whether it's a data scientist or the data engineer or the business analyst. So those people can consume the data, right? Simple form. For example, you created a, you went to, as I mentioned the last example, you want to launch a product. So you put a stall in IPL stadium, right? So you gave the feedback forms, or in a digital way you gave the ask the all people whether they like the product or not, right? So now when you go back to your office and the marketing team, what they want, they just wanted how many people liked and how many people did not like, right? So you cannot give the whatever the data collected from the IPL stadium and directly. You need to process that and in forms of how many people are liked and how many people did not like, right? So how do you do that? When you either in Excel or somewhere, you need to process the data and then load to the target, so that they can so that the data analyst or the business analyst can look at the data and understand, okay, these many people are like, these many people are didn't like. Okay, so this is another keyword, guys. So ETL is one of the term that you will use in the entire life if you're in a data space. Okay, just just keep remember of this. And also it offers a code free UI for intuitive authoring and single pane of glass for monitoring and management. Okay, so what does this code free and all? Let's take a look. So I'm just logging into the Azure portal now. Okay. So as you can see, there are so many services are available here, right? You have a data factory, you have a virtual machines, app services, storage account, databases, and Kubernetes, so on and so forth. Right? These all are available in as a cloud computing services. That means if I want to buy a SQL database right now, within a minute, I can buy it. But the same, if you want to buy a SQL database in your on-prem, as I mentioned, right? You need to get the budget and raise a PO, and the service provider will deliver to you, and it takes days and days, right? But right now in the cloud, if I want to buy, I can buy in next 1 minute, I can buy it. Okay. So now coming to the data factory, so you can click here data factory to directly go to that. Right, and you can create a data factory over here. Okay, so you can click on create, and it will ask you some details, and then it will immediately get created. Okay, so I have a one already created. We can take a look of this and how. So it will ask you some details. Okay, so which will go through in detail and discuss in our further sessions. But I just wanted to show you what is the code free means. Okay, so it says it's a code free UI. So what does it mean? So in the meantime, if you have any questions or any doubts, just take a note, and we'll be covering those questions and doubts at the end of this session. Okay. So as you can see, this is my Azure Data Factory I have created for this demo. Okay. So now I can go. So let's say I want to create a pipeline. Okay. So the reason it's saying code free and you sophisticated UL is kind of a drag and drop, right? If you see, I wanted to copy data from A to B, right? So I just there is a copy data is already available. I just just drag and drop, and I will just give you what is this my source and what is my target, and I will run this. It will automatically copies the data from source to target. Right, I no need to write any code, right? And any loops or any if conditions or anything. It's just a matter of just drag and drop. Right, there's so many options are available, you can see here. And of course we'll be discussing all these in our next coming sessions, but just to give you a glimpse of what is the code, what is the meaning of code free here, right? Anything, if I want to create a function, I can just drag and drop, that's it. And the code is already available, and if you want to see the code, you can see it over here. See view source code. So see, this is the source code Azure is already giving to you. So you need not write what is name and all. You need not write everything, name, type, depends, everything. It's already the template is available. You just provide the value. That's it. Just drag it and provide the value. For example, if I say, okay, if I give you, so this is a salary function. So this is a function to calculate the salary. For example, let's say that, right? So the code is already available here. See, so this code automatically goes and executes in the respective server and then gets the data. You need not write all these annotations and make sure the alignment is correct and all. You just need to just drag and drop. That's it. The same thing, copy data. If you see, it's also another. Okay, so that is the meaning of code free. Okay, code free UI for intuitive authoring and single plane of class. It's just single plane. You are seeing the all the activities are there. You just need to know which activity is required for your use case and just drag and drop those, connect those dots. Okay. And in other words, it's a cloud-based ETL and data integration service that allows you to create data-driven workflows and orchestrating the data movement, right? So you want to move the data from one place to another for your analysis, right? So this tool is helps you to do that in an automated manner, code-free manner, that all the workflows and activities available in a single plane of gas, so that you can easily drag and drop. You need not go for one thing, you hear one thing is somewhere else. So you need not go there. You need not move the UI into different, get into different UIs and all, right? And then create a workflow for orchestrating the data movement. Okay, I want to bring the first employee data, and then I want to bring the sales data, and I want to copy it, and then I want to do some transformation, and I wanted to put it into my target. So this is what orchestrating, right? See, if you didn't tell what to do first and what the orchestration, the process didn't understand, right? So you need to tell, okay, bring the data first and do the transformation and do something else and do load it, right? So these steps you will mention in your workflow and to orchestrate the data movement. And finally, one of the keyword is at scale. You remember this, at scale. At scale in the sense, it supports the variety, volume, and other the it connects to the variety of sources and volume and velocity, the speed of change. Also, it's there is the store. You will never get an error saying the storage is full, or or memory is out of running memory. So those kind of issues you will never get at scale. Even if you billions of trillions of transactions you can process in minutes, right? And terabyte petabyte of data you can process in minutes and hours. Okay, so that's where the beauty of this ADF. Okay, so moving on again, some of the scenarios we already touched. So it's basically supports the data migration, right? And whether it's a client server or in any online data, as I mentioned, right? Social media and all. And so there is another Azure data lake. So we will be discussing that in further sessions. And also it's a carrying out the data integration process. So basically the data, it integrates the data at the end. That is the end goal of uh, Azure ADF. And then again different ERP systems, as I mentioned, it can connect to Salesforce, and it can connect to Oracle apps, and it can connect to ServiceNow for ticketing data. It can connect to any enterprise resource planning systems that are already available for within the enterprise. it can get the data and then loading for a reporting, right, and generate the reports. All right, so I think we discussed more on why. What about what Azure Data Factory, right? Now the coming to the why part. So why Azure Data Factory? Because it has so much of sophisticated design to integrate with the other Azure services. So, right, some of the other go through the so we'll be creating the Azure account for everybody, the free account which is available. Okay, so go through when you go through the Azure portal, you will see the different services like Synapse Analytics, Azure Databricks, and Azure HD Insight, and there are many other services are available. Okay, so one of the beauty of this ADF is it can easily integrate with other services. Okay, and of course it's a cost effective because you are going to pay what you are going to use, right? So you just created an ADF, for example, I created an demo ADF, right? So that doesn't mean that I'm starting pay. Okay, I only pay when I run the ADF, when I get the data from different sources, when I run the ADF, then only I'm going to pay. Otherwise I'm not going to pay. For example, you have a process to, you have the requirement to run in once in a month. So during that month, whatever the data you got and you got processed, you are going to pay only for that amount. But the rest of the days, if you are not running, you are not going to pay any single pay. So that's the beauty of cloud computing. You remember I mentioned the operational expenses and uh, ca- um, capital expenses and operational expenses. So this is part of operational expenses. That means I only pay when I use it, right? It's a subscription based. Okay, and scalability. Yes, of course, it scales up to terabytes. It supports tera and petabytes of data. There is no limitation of only this much data you can do or this many searches you can connect. The 80 or 100 plus connections is already available. You can connect and get the data. Okay, and it supports multiple data sources and destination. There is no one only one or two it connects, right? It offers so many pre-built connectors. Like if you want to connect to Salesforce, there is already connector available. You can connect and get it, right? And you want to connect to on-prem. Let's say you have an on-prem data is available. You can connect to that, and you can also, it includes structured and unstructured, right? So what is structured and unstructured? Structured is it's in a tabular format, right? So it's tabular format and anyone can easily understand. Unstructured is the data comes from social media. Social media data, how it looks like, it's very unstructured, right? Somebody puts emojis, somebody puts code words, and somebody puts different formats of somebody in comments itself, somebody puts a another pic, right? It's a picture, it's videos. So those are not structured. Those are falls into unstructured data. Okay, and it has a flexibility. You can just as I showed you, you can just drag and drag. It's not a complicated UI, or it's not a complicated uh, um, complicated mechanism to operate it. It's just a drag and drop. I showed you, right? You want to copy a data, just pull the copy data and give source and destination. That's it. Okay, and also it provides the security, right? So as you are dealing with the data, it's very important to keep the security. Otherwise it can incur huge losses to the company, right? As in other the use cases we have discussed, finance and healthcare. So those are very secure data. I don't want to expose my health data to in a public, right? And in the same way, I don't want to expose my financial data belong to company it's publicly available in somewhere, right? So and I don't want to um, give access to everybody to access the data. If it's a sales data, only the higher management can see that. Not everybody in the within the even organization also, not everybody will not have access, right? So there are security policies in terms of data encryption. It automatically encrypts the data, and compliance and authorization, authentication, everything is automatically taken care by the cloud provider. So you need not do anything. Okay. And also it provides good way of monitoring and management of these pipelines. As I showed you through portal, how you can monitor and pipelines, and once a pipeline is created, you can see the workflows, you can see the logging mechanism, what went wrong. In case of any failures, you can easily debug and diagnose that issue using the logging and other capabilities. Okay. So I hope you got it. The ADF, what is ADF, and why we are discussing about ADF, and why how ADF makes a difference in any uh, organization or any use case that for big data analytics. Okay, so just any questions so far? Okay, so let's see. How about the I will like a simple question. So how about your understanding of these concepts? Are you already knows all these already, or it's new to you? And how I'm going? Is I'm going too fast, or I'm going too slow? So I want to hear from you guys. Come on, I need some answers. See, I can talk and talk another 2 3 hours also. Okay. So it's very important to us, to you also. You need to understand what I'm talking about, and get those understanding as well. Otherwise I'm only repeating what I know. Yeah, Nishant, go
It's
ahead.
going good. Yeah, it's going good. But like just wanted to. I'm having few queries. Like you mentioned, like there are three different platforms which were currently leading in the cloud computing, right? Like ADF and AWS and GCP. So what makes the difference between three? Like I mean, I understood the different options or feasibilities were in ADF. So just wanted to know, like, what are the other benefits were available with the AWS and GCP? So what drives us to learn to ADF only?
Right. That's a good question, Nishant. So ADF is one of the biggest market share out of these three cloud providers. Okay, AWS is there, and also Google is coming up recently. Okay, Google is also, if you remember, Google was not there when Microsoft. That point of time, only Microsoft and AWS were leading. Now within the kind of innovation, the kind of costing model, and the kind of um, uh, the easy to understand kind of design that Microsoft brings, many organizations are using. Okay, and one of the flagship of Microsoft is they are selling not just this entire as a package. For example, they have their own Power BI reporting, right? They have their own SQL databases and everything, right? And they have their own storage services, right? So Microsoft is selling this is as a package, that end-to-end package, right? For example, the same if you go to AWS, what reporting tool you will use? Because they don't have any reporting tool. Either you have to go with Tableau, which is another service provider, right? Or you have to go with Power BI. Power BI, if you want to go to Power BI, again you have to come to Microsoft, right? So the benefit of Azure is he is selling as a complete package, so that you need not try you need not go with the other vendors. And for example, if you are using a AWS and you are using a Tableau, you need to learn how to connect AWS to Tableau, right? The same way here, if you are using Power BI and if you're using Azure, as I discussed, why ADF is it has easily um, flexible to connect within the Azure services. You
I
need
thought
not
like
break.
a yeah.
Yeah, so you need not
I
break your head. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, nothing like currently I'm working as a data analyst for DuPont. So
Mm.
I'm working as a Power BI developer here and working with the Tableau as well. So I thought like ADF is not included in the package. So like in my current organization also we are migrating the reports from Tableau to Power BI.
Mm.
So we spoke with the manager. So they have mentioned the same reason like currently Microsoft is like selling their products as a package like O365 package. So in that
Right.
we can get the Power Platform, Power Automate as well. So
Yeah,
like I mean I'm not aware like they were selling these ADF also. I mean they have included ADF in the package. So that is the reason I asked this question.
absolutely, absolutely. That's a good question. Yeah.
And one more question about the coding. Like you mentioned that like Python and PySpark and SQL is included in the Azure Databricks, right? So
Mm.
what kind of coding language which can be involved in the AWS and GCP? Like is kind of Google BigQuery, or I mean I'm not sure about that.
Correct, correct. See, Python is not anybody's proprietary, right? It's a open source and it's available across. All of these players are everyone supports Python, Spark, okay, and SQL. Okay, without these three, nobody exists. These three are basic things. Okay, and apart from that, as you mentioned, Google has their own BigQuery and all. Okay, and my AWS has Redshift and all other stuff. Okay, so
Okay.
those are when you get into this, there are some minor, tweaks and here and there you need to learn, but overall the building blocks, the foundation remains same. It's like you're building a house, right? So your foundation remains same, right? But on top, how do you make different floors? Maybe you build small houses here, big houses later, something you plan. So those are kind of a smaller tweaks, it will be there. But the Python, SQL, Spark, right? Spark with Python, these are common
Okay.
across all the platforms.
Okay.
And
Got
the
it.
reason is these are the open. Now Python is it's about to overtake Java, right? Earlier before Python we used to have C++ and Java. Now Python is becoming a kind of an universal language. It's there everywhere, not just ADF. It's there everywhere across the spectrum, right? So everybody,
Yeah.
even in the new players are coming, they had to support this, right? You cannot say that for my product you need to learn a new language. That's not going. That's not a good selling point.
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Yeah. Any other questions from Mahesh, Rama, Ramesh, Suresh? Okay, so then let me ask a simple question. How many of you have a free account in Azure portal, Microsoft Azure?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, so Venkat, you have others.
I also have, sir.
You also have. Okay. So is anybody, if you don't have, don't worry, we'll be creating a free account, right? but it's not a rocket science or any we need a separate session for that. You try to create free account. It's a very just just need an email and some card details, right? And it won't charge anything unless you upgrade. For example, if you see, uh, for example, if you see here somewhere, I keep getting a message saying that upgrade. Okay, how do hide this one? Right. So if I go back to, you see there is an upgrade button, right? So though it asks you your credit card or debit card details, but it won't charge you anything unless you move to the pay as you go subscription. So right now, even if you see, I am under free subscription. So if I upgrade to pay as you go subscription, that point of time, it's going to charge the amount of resources I've been using in terms of computing or the storage. Okay, so there is no harm. Even if you first time if you create, you will get some, I think some credits. You will get some around 15,000 rupees of credits you will get. So that you can use to learn, to learn and practice different small activities you can play with Azure Data Factory. Okay, we don't need a even the further sessions we will be doing a real time scenarios and all. So we'll be doing within that limit. We don't need a any uh, any heavy resources to do the hands on. Right? For example, if I want to create a SQL database, let's see. Right? So I will be using the free trial. Okay, so I will not be using any subscription or any account that going to be cost me. Okay, and even the compute and the storage I required for my learning, I'm using the minimal things which I wanted. I don't want to use heavy memory intense or the storage intense powerful machines, right? But if you go enterprise level, right? So these enterprise level after the use case or the department you will be working in. So their enterprise level, according to their needs, they would have already, have some subscription and resource group available at the every organization. So when you go when ask you somebody, you just need to ask them. So the required SQL databases, everything would have already available to you to use it, right? You will not be creating there for your use case or anything. But if at all, if there is a even there is a chance to for you to um, create that, you can create that using the, you can ask him what is the subscription, what is the resource script should I use, right? And then accordingly you can create it. Okay, so for tomorrow, the homework I wanted to for everybody is just uh, explore those concepts, right? Whatever we discussed so far, explore those concepts and come up with some questions if you have anything. And we'll moving further with the creating a understanding and creating some of the important concepts in Azure Data Factory tomorrow. Okay, and again we have last 10 minutes. If you have any questions, now we can discuss, or if you want to bring tomorrow, we can discuss as well. But at the first 5 minutes, I want to use this opportunity to discuss with you in terms of any questions.